G'day and welcome to SEQ Campers on the Sunshine Coast, and this is our new shed. Please, we love that you like these videos. Please subscribe. It does make a big help to us making more videos for you about your off-road camping. So today, like I always do, fly by the seat of my pants, what I'm gonna do is get in here and try out an anti-flap kit on a Kimberley Kruiswagen. Now, I've pulled this stuff out. This is going based on some of our original anti-flap kits, so it's not actually made for this unit, but I just want to answer a few questions for you, and this video is all about what we need to set up a Fiamma awning on a Kimberley Kruiswagen. So stepping right back in, now again, some of the big questions are, how much are we going to use our awning, how much are we going to use this, and how much living are we going to do out here? So what we have is our Fiamma awning, and the joy of having a motorhome off-road is that we can get into places, we can stay for an hour, we can stay for a night, but then we're moving on. So how easy is the awning to use? So number one, I'm in here and I can reach, or in fair weather, whatever it is, I can actually come from here, hiding out, checking out what's going on in the world, and I'm going to put my awning out just 1 meter. So I've got a little bit of cover, a little bit of a step out there, and now I can still enjoy the view, but I'm under cover and there's no rain coming in. It's sunset. I've got my drop-down screens here to look after me for sunset, but right now we've just come out 1 meter, pushing my awning button here. Now what I'm trying to work out is, to set up these awnings, do I need to carry a ladder with me? Now, I'm my 170 centimeters, so I'm gonna come out until this awning, I can reach it. So somewhere about there, I can reach the awning. This guy's gonna come out and drop down. Now you can see this is brand new, so I'm just gonna take the plastic off this leg, and we would do this in our handover, take our little plastic off there, and I'm just gonna support that leg on the ground. Now you can imagine here that I've got this set up. I've come out now 2 meters or halfway, and I'll put both legs down. Undo my little tab there. And I might want to support this a little bit more. So let's look at supporting this. So I can actually bring this out fairly level. Please remember that if I'm set up here, I do want to have some fall on my awning. So let some awning water run out to the front or the back, but ideally away from my living area. I've now put that up and I want to use this guy here. Now, let's say I don't want to use a hammer. I don't want to actually do much more than that. So I'm actually going to come and connect back to my little clips here on the body. Now I have to lift that up, slide that in, and pro tip, if I had a pro tip just to offer you right here, I'm actually going to have this down, and that angle has gotten a lot better by leaving that down. That little foot has now gone in there, and I've clicked it in. Here's another one. If you have received a brand new awning and you're struggling to get that foot in, there's a good chance that the screw we've installed is actually a little bit big and it's interfering. So if you do struggle to get that in, it is not a broken part. It's just that the screw is a little bit large. I've now put this guy in here and I've now supported it off the body. So let's see both examples, leg on the ground, leg out here. What happens next? We're going down and out. So ideally it's secured there, and I see my arms coming out here. I can actually do two things. I could either move this out, I can do two things, move this leg out. So I've got the bracket at the back as well. Remember which way I push the button now that I've done it 3 times. And what we have here is this is actually gonna go slack. So that's actually quite loose. And what I do is I've gone just a little bit too far. We're gonna go the other way just till it tensions it up. Now the idea here was that I've now got an awning secured to the body. But again, these are aluminum legs. If I feel that the weather is turning, let's just try and turn that down a little bit. Let's try and drop this one down here. If it's on the ground, I want to peg it down. So right away, even on a beautiful day, put a peg in there, put something in the end track, put a rope on it, or secure it to here. So again, if I went to bed, I could probably drop that right down. See how that's supported there? But what we have is behind your seat in the Kruiswagen is one of these bars. From the back, I can get it, and that's your standard bar. If you do want to check out SEQ Campers, we are doing also some curved bars, and we can do some extra lighting packages out in the awning for you. Now we've got two big lights there, so let's just go and see if I turn those on as well. I can play with them. Now what I'm doing here, again, the standard bar that you should have with any awning that's over 4 meters wide, we want to put something here to make it stronger in the middle. Now, can I do it from down here? So there's an obvious clip for that to go on, and then there's a nice matching clip over here for this to go on, and I feel like I'm just not going to do it without a step. So I feel like I can come down. I can make that as slack as there. That's where it's comfortable. And it is only just a little bit. So do I need to carry a 3-step ladder? That's a bit excessive. Or am I okay just to have any sort of little 2-step hidden inside to set up all the gear? So I'm going to give that guy a little bit of tension. Now, I meant to do the demonstration before, but in theory, that's feeling a lot better. I removed my bracket. I thought, geez, today is going to be a great day. I don't need to do anything. I'm just going to put it out. And all of a sudden, not too bad. Now, the big difference there, if I show you this in a handover, if this leg was on the ground, you would see a lot of movement. So I can tell that bracing off the van is probably my best solution. Just wanted to show it as an example. If this was not braced off the van, it does have a bit more movement in there. And I really liked how this did show up. Such a big awning. It's got the shock absorbers in there. I've got my little teeth hook. I've got my little 2-step. And I'm pretty solid. Please remember, set it up on an angle, let some water go away from my camp and running down there, especially if you've left it for the day, we don't want it pooling in there. And that is a setup that I would do on a Kimberley Kruiswagen in a basic awning setup. So now it's the next level. We've got an anti-flap kit here, not built for this van, but built for one of our other awnings. Now, please, we'll just see what comes out of the bag, and we're going to set it up together for the first time. So this one actually is the Fiamma. I thought it was the choice between Aussie Traveler with extra brackets, but this one has all these Fiamma poles in it. So that's a little bit cool. Now I can tell with the matching gray, the Fiamma anti-flap kit has a bucket load more poles. I've got a couple of Kimberley poles in here, but that's because it came off a Kimberley Kruiser, and those 3 Kimberley poles are for my sunshade or my second awning in a Kimberley Kruiser. These are my Fiamma poles. Now they are a little bit tidier, a little bit smaller than an Aussie Traveler, but there's a lot more of them and a bit more to carry around. Look at that. So this would have been that same pole that we've just set up on the middle. They're a second one just for luck. If you're going to 4.5 meter or a big awning, second one seems like a good idea. But being a Fiamma awning, I've got two different ends. So this is the one that's gonna sit into a groove on the end of my awning. So this is the one I believe that's gonna be out there. And then on the top end, I don't have it installed, but we're gonna give it a go and make it look just a little bit fun. But there would be another little plastic bracket, similar there, for the top of my awning up there. It hasn't been installed in this kit, it's been installed in the other van. Let's just slide those together because we're trying to answer a couple of basic questions of, do I need a ladder? How big do I need my ladder? And how hard is it to set up? So these guys here have a couple of clips. We're just gonna release those clips. Now this one being a lot smaller of a profile, probably because this fits in a little bit tighter. Now let's start with a little step, see how I go here. Why do we do this anti-flap? Well, a lot of these other awnings here are actually going to be set up like a Kimberley awning with a pole. So it's got a spreader bar pole, it's got a zippered edge, and that's how we hang our walls on any of the Kimberley product awnings. With this one here, I'm gonna be very gentle. I'm gonna just stick it here on the edge of my awning, even though I kinda know it's not the right spot. But how cool, if I am very clever, I'm gonna put this up higher, change my angle to suit, but there's a little ridge right here that I can see. It doesn't want to line up until it was a little bit higher. Also making it a bit longer, you can see that it is adjustable here. The reason that we're doing this is so that my walls can attach to this edge instead of being just a fabric edge. So again, there would have been a clip up here on a standard one if we had retrofitted or installed this. I'm doing pretty good on a two-step, and that slid into there. And now it's locked on there fairly well. But does it have enough oomph to grab the awning? So I'm gonna now pretend that this looks awesome with fabric, into that fabric. I feel like I've got that one inside the fabric. I've given it a bit of a pull, and I'm going to then close my clamp. I've got that one on the inside. I can see some of the fabric isn't actually in there, and so that one's gonna want a bit of an adjustment. I don't want it to fall down, so I'm gonna give this a little bit of a pinch, a little bit of a pull, get it inside the clamp, and clamp it off. Redo this one, because I've pulled it a bit harder. Look at that. I can actually close that clamp. I'm not gonna do the top one because I don't have the clip on there, but I have two-step. Again, my little step, nice there. And I'm gonna come in here, have a look at this, make sure, there you go, I've just had to touch that up a bit, give it a bit of a pull, and there we go, we're in. That was my test. I'm in, and now I'm ready to attach some walls to this side. So I felt pretty good about that. If I had the clip up there again, I would probably be doing that. So just so you know, the end of the Fiamma awning's got that little groove. The top section is gonna be that little C. That's my side poles. It's pretty tidy little unit. And it's definitely a different price point than the Aussie Traveller. And the Aussie Traveller does need some retrofit, so a few more holes drilled, but we do use both and like both. What I do have with the Fiamma was some extra supports, and they look very clever, and hopefully you'll find it on another video of how you would use these. I do not know what I would do with them, but I would say I'm going to research that video and get back to you, but I do believe that these are actually probably going to be some middle supports for a door. So if you did this and you had a door section, it would give you something to tie the door back. I can see the two spikes there, and I guess in theory, one of these might be going inside. And look at that, I've now created that tall pole for that tall awning. And what we would probably do there for you is drill 2 little holes in the bottom of that leading edge, and I could then set that up so I could set up my door or whatever I'm using on my Fiamma awning. But that's a good look at what we have there. Look at the gear we've got here. We've set up the anti-flap kit there. Now, let's see what Kimberley's done with their canvas. We're talking about canvas and an anti-flap kit. We're talking about setting up a Fiamma awning. Now, there's other products out there that people will get, which are gonna be super lightweight. So that little lightweight type of wall will give me some shade protection. It actually reflects back off there, but I can see through there, and you guys can't see me through here. So something like that's gonna be as easy as a couple of Velcro tabs. We can get a sail track, and we can also get some canvas type inserts, and we can get them in a range of sizes for that. So what we do, there you go, as an example, is a sail track bit. So that sail track would slide in here. So let's just pretend that I've got 2.8. So I'm gonna be pretty close. This will be a 4-meter awning. Now, this 2.8 would have fit my 3-meter or my single axle awning. We're just gonna try these two out. It's all about a bit of comparison. You can see that I've taken this camping. It's a little bit wet. I've got 2 sail tracks there. Got my little 2-step, and I'm just gonna slide that in there. Now, if this was getting the full 3.8 for a Fiamma, this is a 2.8 reach, or maybe less, but this will work on some of my other ones. So we'll just use the open one for an example now. Just wanted to give you a bit of an idea. That something like this will actually be able to peg down. There's some bungees we can get with it. It can actually go on the side with some Velcro to make loops on any pole, or we can go right here onto our little sail track. And I can see that's a bit of a side wall, right? That one's 2.8, so it's gonna be much longer. But right there, I guess if there's a bit of light, you can see, but I can definitely see you guys when I'm inside here, and I can see who's coming around for a visit. Let's check out what it looks like with canvas. So again, this is the Kimberley Dyna-Proof canvas. This is the stuff that everyone says, geez, it's lasted me 10 years and still looks brand new. So this guy here says side. So I'm assuming that I've got some seals that's gonna join up there to that end. I don't have a little sail track spline on there. Left, right, side. What I'm chasing is the same sort of unit, the same sort of little slide-in part. Now the reason we would use those seals, I do know one of 6 bags, that bag is out there marked seals, and we'll be back in just a moment to get that bag to you. We're back. We have found it. That's our little bag marked seals. Now in the Kimberley Kruiser, we have a variety of seals that attach it to the wall, the body of the unit. Now how you do that, there's actually sail track on the unit. Don't think that it's gonna work with this one. Let's just clear some room here for us. Seals, poles, a bit of housekeeping, shady gear, Kimberley poles, and I've also got something here that I do, while we're at it, have a Bedouin extension. Now people are talking about that. What are we gonna do? So that's gonna be part 3 of awning, walls, and gear. So I've got a lovely Kimberley one here, marked with right. So I'm gonna have sail track right, side. That's the one we want. Now I'm gonna go with a educated guess here. How do I know which way the wall fits? Well, I can tell that there's a vinyl strip, which is my dirt or my covering at the bottom, pegged down the bottom. I can see that there's Velcro on the top, and I can actually, when I open this up, I have a door or a window, and the mesh is always gonna be on the inside. So that outside covering gives me protection, so I know that's my outside. And because this is the first time setting this awning up, I know now that this Velcro is on the outside to go with the outside door. Why did I explain all that? Well, I've just had a bit of a look through this thing, and I wanted to figure out which side the Velcro went on. So there you go, writing on the outside, Velcro on the outside, so that I'm matching Velcro facing me. Nice and clean vinyl there, Velcro facing me, so that's matching the awning wall there. Just had to work that out myself before I go and set this whole thing up. So here we go. Now we've done some Fiamma awnings way back in the day, but we're just gonna go here. I could probably let this down, but I've got my anti-flap kit on. So I don't really want that to drop or fall, but I need to be that high. I want to make it easy, so I've just lowered that down. Here we go. So Velcro facing me on my little slide out. Boom. So 4-meter awning, 4.5 meter on the Kruiswagen. So believe that this one's gonna be bigger than my T3 awning outside. Same sort of thing, if you have a T3, we've retrofitted, or you have a new T3 with the Fiamma awning, electric awning goes out, same sort of steps on a Kruiser. Here we go with a Kruiser wall. Let's find a little spot here. There we go. We're a meter shy. It is only short on one side. The other side is fine. So I'm assuming that I would have had an ensuite or some other wall to suit that. If I was a guessing man, I might actually have on this awning that it wraps around the corner. So imagine you have a side wall. Sometimes it can be quite open, you know, loose on the corner. If it wraps around the corner, there's a good chance that it's coming down the side, wrapping around the corner to take up that space, allowing my side walls to be much stronger. Don't know about this one here, but just as a guide, I've got that. I've now set it up, and I'm now going to put this up to suit my wall. So there you have it. Now you can see, depending on how our sidewalls join up, what's going on there. But that might be where I set up my 2 upright poles so that I can actually support that. There's a couple little tabs there to roll that up. And that is going to be my sidewall here. I've learned something new. And I love that I'm aware enough to say, I'm going to set this up 3 or 4 times, come back in 3 to 6 months on a road trip. I'm going to be diamonds at setting this up. But right now, what I have learned is that I've decided that we're going to stay an extra night, and I want to put my Bedouin extension in. This guy actually has 2 slots in it. And if I had chosen to take this wall and slide it in the bottom of the rails, go down that end, slide it in, most likely I could have got my Bedouin extension over top. So right now, as a pro tip, if you are looking to do walls and the extra strength of the Bedouin, I would be sliding this one in the bottom of the 2 tracks, and then I would be putting my Bedouin on the top section. Let's try out the Bedouin awning for a Fiamma right now. We've said, look at this great product. It's called a Bedouin extension. Everyone is a little bit surprised. What is that? Why would I get it? Let's show you what it does and what it looks like here today at the SEQ Campers showroom on the Sunshine Coast. Here we go, bit of an awning video. I've stuck this out. I've put my brace inside there, and I've got this Bedouin extension. Now, this is something we offer on the Kimberley Caravans. Again, Kimberley has always been the KK canvas that lasts forever, and this is a product that we do to try and make your awning much stronger. So the idea is behind the Bedouins in the desert, they can strap this down and it makes their tents almost indestructible. So what we're trying to do is a Fiamma awning, easy, lightweight, and we're gonna try and make it stronger. So we open up this section and we've got a bit of a sail track. Now, what we've learned in just the last video was if I put my wall in the bottom track, I can put my Bedouin in the top track and they can work together. Let's set this up. Now I can see with my seams, I'm gonna hide my seams in the back. So with my guy there, if I've got stitching seam, it's gonna be on my inside. I'm gonna grab this guy, lower it down to my height, and slide it in. Now, why does my canvas have this big hole in it? Now, we do have the option that we would fill this in with a similar mesh so that you can have privacy, put a zipper down the middle, and it will become that. But the main reason here, what we're trying to accomplish is setting up the Bedouin is adding strength, and I'm not having to get any ropes out. So we right now are gonna pull this guy out. I don't have any pegs for my concrete. Pull this out. Bring you a really lovely battery to stick on each corner. But the joy of this one here is what we are doing is that when it does get pegged down, it's got a lot of flexibility to go into the sand or the dirt. And I actually peg this out like that. Pegging it out there, a bit of privacy, a bit of protection. When we're free camping, this just adds a lot of strength to your awning, and it's a nice, easy way for not having ropes to trip over. That's an idea of what a Bedouin awning or extension looks like on the Fiamma awning. Another request, again, is putting mesh all in here, so it does block some of the breeze, and that is a little bit of an idea of how easy that was. 4 pegs, and I'm set up, making my awning secure.